This is a door. A door is a passage from one space into another. It sequesters different areas of the home, so when you're sitting on the toilet, you aren't reminded of your relative proximity to the bananas sitting on your kitchen table. I've been on a search, I've been on a hunt for cinema's greatest door. And to be clear, not just doors that are cool for the looks of them, that would be a much shorter video. That would be like 4 greatest doors, Clooney portrait door, Parasite door, Harry Potter interlocking doors, Jurassic Park door. Boom, 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 boom. These doors look cool. It's not just design, I'm looking for doors that effectively convey meaning in film. A door used poorly, perhaps, conveys nothing. We might not even register that it's there. A door used well can elevate or clarify what the movie is trying to say. I'm not saying you need to convey meaning with every doorway, but you do need to convey meaning with something. What Heathers lacks in door symbolism, it certainly makes up for in its usage of croquet and monochromatic suit jackets. Doors are portals. Doors are barriers. Doors can lead us into the past or our future. Doors can represent detachment from the world and the last front against it. 1 door, 2 door, red door, blue door. I've searched far and wide, and I will now share with you my 4 favorite cinematic doors. Number 4, the Marriage Story door, aka Scarlett Johansson's disappearing act. The thing about Marriage Story is it's about divorce. Isn't that fun? A messy and honest examination of divorce, so its messaging isn't always explicit. As the audience, we are often left to our own devices to decide whose side of the story, Charlie's or Nicole's, resonates more. And on the rewatch, this door moment really cemented my interpretation of the film. See, with Nicole entering the room, you would expect the frame of the door to widen as she's a character talking in the scene of the movie that we sat down to watch. But it doesn't widen. It maintains this very harsh angle that can only accommodate Charlie, giving the impression that Nicole has fallen off the face of the planet. Hold on to your object permanence. I promise, Scarlett Johansson hasn't left us yet. One of the many focal points of this argument that surrounds the door moment of interest is both characters dealing with Charlie's selfishness. A selfishness that's gone uncontested up to this point.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? I was your wife. You should have considered my happiness too.
Come on. You were happy. You've just decided you weren't now.
He believes that she's needlessly abandoning a life she once wanted, unaware that she's probably already made some personal sacrifices prior to the specific legal intervention to terminate their relationship. The legal intervention doesn't just represent one thing, it represents a succession of many things, many unhappinesses over the course of their relationship. By seeking divorce in the first place, by standing up for the life that she wants to be living, notably without him, this conflicts with Charlie's own desires. Of course, he doesn't want things to change. They've been doing everything his way. They've stayed in New York over LA. They've prioritized his theater company's success over her own career. His selfishness has blinded him to the fact that Nicole might have not always wanted things exactly as he wanted them. Just because something is good doesn't mean that it was good for her.
Do you understand why I want to stay in LA?
No.
When Nicole enters this room, Charlie's world, so to speak, she disappears because Charlie never made enough space for her in the life that they shared together. That's what we can glean from this door. Or at the very least, when she enters this room speaking to Charlie, it may as well be that she hasn't even entered the room at all. Number 3, the Problemista doors, aka the government-mandated maze doors. Guys, my leg is falling asleep and I fear I can't deal much longer with the string of this hat. But if I'm not wearing the hat, you're not going to know that I'm an explorer of doors. Problemista is a comedy about having aspirations and dreams as an artist and pursuing those dreams by venturing into an unknown world. A world wherein your livelihood very much depends on you fulfilling potpourri Craigslist ads. You want to live in the big city and follow your dreams? Bow down to the Craigslist beast. I love Problemista very much. If it were up to me, it would win many superlatives. Best painted egg, best cowlick, best tension in a cafe, not to be confused with best tension in a restaurant. That obviously goes to Fleabag, of course. Best garbage. Do not get me started on this movie's garbage. The most beautiful garbage I've ever seen. The doors of interest here are introduced to us just as Alejandro, having emigrated from El Salvador to the United States, is realizing he can't accept payment for work until he has a work visa, but he can't afford a work visa until he receives payment from work. Without discussing it much further, the film then seamlessly enters this otherworldly space wherein Alejandro must play a game. The rules of the game are he must open the door to get the key on the other side, but the key itself opens the door that he is trying to get into in the first place. A metaphor, you see. And the more effort he exerts in trying to reach this goal, the more doors are created. Kind of like quicksand or falling into a grain silo, I would imagine. The more you flail your limbs around, the faster or you're gonna get consumed. Doesn't this visual alone give you the same impression as trying to work your way through various government websites to get what you thought was pretty basic information, and despite all the clicking and clacking and thinking you're moving forward, thinking you're getting closer to the thing that you wanted, you actually keep getting redirected to the same homepage over and over and over again? I'm not trying to start a new application for health insurance. I'm just trying to see the application I know I already created. The meaning of the door is turned on its head. The more doors he opens, the more doors are created, and he actually gets farther from achieving his goal. The specificity of the problem he's facing getting diluted by a series of government-sponsored traps. Number 2, the Aftersun door, aka the most tragic fucking door I've ever seen. You probably aren't surprised to hear me say that Aftersun, of all films, finds a way to make even the humble and unassuming door contribute to the tragedy of its story. You could say everything about this movie is used tragically. A tragic parasail, a tragic pool table, a tragic carpet. Aftersun really out here revolutionizing the usage of a tragic carpet. It's a movie concerned with memory. Our main character, Sophie, is recollecting the final moments and the final vacation shared with her father when she was 11 years old. And we are very quickly clued into the fact that this was a person who had a hard time looking at himself in the mirror, figuratively and also sometimes quite literally, because he spits on it. At one point, Sophie is recording and she asks him about his life when he was 11 years old, and in response, he turns the camera off. There's something this question asks of him that he doesn't want to revisit. But Sophie isn't deterred. She says, okay, I'll just keep recording you with my mind camera.
It's not recording. I'll just record it in my little mind camera.
Oh, your mind camera? You mean your brain? You talking about memory itself? Also interspersed throughout the movie are these surrealist scenes where we see adult Sophie imagining seeing her father at the club. In the club, we all fam.
In the club, we all fam.
Now what's going on with this? Why are we at the club? Why don't her imaginings of Paul Mescal take place in a Chili's? Or the King Kong ride at Universal Studios? Too bad, can't deal with that right now. We have the rest of this vacation to unpack. Until the end of the movie when we see adult Sophie finishing this home video that was created on this vacation. And considering this is a movie about her remembering this person, I think it's important to note that when the home video ends, the movie itself doesn't end, because this is not the only space he exists in. He doesn't just exist in the medium of recordings and camcorders, he also exists in, say it with me now, her mind camera.
Mind camera.
For the actual final moment of the film, for the final drop, the final sip of tragedy soup that is the film Aftersun, we are at the airport. Sophie's dad is looking pretty forlorn as he closes the camera. They've said goodbye, the trip is over, there isn't anything to film anymore. He then turns and walks through these swinging double doors, behind which is the club that we saw from scenes prior. The club, this place of imagined memory, but aren't all memories imagined in a way? He's walking into her mind camera. This is the place where he continues to exist to her after that vacation. The use of the swinging door is perhaps indicative of things flowing in and out with relative ease. Memories changing over time as her view of him ebbs and flows for the rest of her life. Because remember, they could have used any old door. They could have used the revolving door, an open and shut kind of door with a giant emergency bar. They could have used no door at all, but no, they chose the swinging double doors, the most elusive of all doors. Their very usage creates a movement and mystery as to which area is actually being sequestered, neither and both at the same time. Now that he's no longer here physically, all memories of him and her view of him must now pass through this portal, like the filter of a camera, the filter of memory, the lens of her mind. Also, it's in the club because you don't ever get to remember anything with total clarity in the club. And now, after having searched from the peaks of the skyline to the rough and low terrain of the worm line, does anyone else remember that from kindergarten, or is it just me? I believe I have found cinema's greatest door. I will present it momentarily, but let me warn you, it was hiding in plain sight all along. Any guesses? If I told you it would be thematic of me to put this hat back on, would that help? I'm not going to because it's itchy, but anything? 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 Uh-oh. The Jurassic Park door. Oh, are you shocked? Are you surprised? Because I explicitly said it wouldn't be Jurassic Park earlier? Because it's the moviest movie of all time? How can it be the moviest movie and also have the best door? Well, it's not the one you're thinking of, so hear me out. Jurassic Park is a film about the power of science and how humans can and should do anything in the name of progress. If and when you find fossilized dino DNA hiding in a mosquito from millions of years ago, it is your God-given right to extrapolate it out to create real-life, anatomically accurate dinosaurs in the year of our Lord Lord 1994. Not only that, but you should commodify the existence of these creatures with the opening of a theme park wherein anyone in the world can commemorate their stay with t-shirts, lunchboxes, water bottles, and all their favorite associated merchandise. Actually, I'm sorry, I misspoke. That's what the first half of the film Jurassic Park is about. The second half, and ultimately the entire story, is about the horrors that ensue with aforementioned scientific endeavor. How you actually can't control a manufactured ecosystem of violent predators, despite all the funding and capital involved.
Spared no expense. Spared no expense.
You're telling me throwing loads of cash at this thing doesn't make it inherently a good idea? The halfway point of the film that signifies this transition from wonder to terror comes with the appearance of the T-Rex. The T-Rex, the poster boy of prehistoric beasts. And accompanied nearly at the exact moment we see the T-Rex is the appearance of this door. Ajar. Some are saying cinema's greatest door. And to be clear, this isn't the first time we're seeing this door in the movie. We were introduced to the aptly themed 1993 Ford Explorer XLTs at the start of our tour, but the key thing being that at the start of our tour, we were all having a great time. When things are going well, you might not notice the underbelly of corporate greed that creates an environment of, yes, very intense, very real, very plausible danger. There may be hints here and there, but come on, give Grandpa the benefit of the doubt. He's so excited to show us his dinos. This is our attitude until the breakout of the T-Rex. Then we see this door straight on. Not overhead, not from the side, not at an angle, straight on. Jurassic, bitch. You just got Jurassic. The actual messaging of the film rearing its ugly head. If every shot is supposed to answer a question posed by the shot before it, the Jurassic door answers a question posed by the T-Rex. Is this bad? And then it answers, yes, this is bad, and it was always going to be bad. I know it may be hard to conceptualize because we've known so much about this movie for so long and now there's like 17 of them, but I want you to imagine seeing this in the theaters for the first time. Going into it, we don't know what the film is trying to say, and it could have very well been, oh, look at this cool universe where humans and dinosaurs are able to like coexist seamlessly. Sure, the trailer probably showed us a few scary moments, but there could be like a positive reading on dinosaur-human coexistence, kind of like Barbie and the Island Princess and how she lives so easily with wild animals, you know, like something like that. The filmmakers want us to see this door with a certain level of clarity right after things have undeniably taken a terrible turn. So what can we glean from it? What do we like about it? I like how it's green and orange. Those are dinosaur colors for sure. I like how there's a dinosaur on it. That is certainly thematic. But you know what I don't like? I don't like how the entire word Jurassic doesn't fit on the door. Jurassic, bitch. I would have taken off the entire dinosaur emblem part if it meant the C could fit and complete the ick of Jurassic. I would sacrifice the inclusion of the dinosaur entirely if it resulted in a more seamless design. Now that couldn't be indicative of something now, could it? But perhaps in this flaw is a clear indication that it's inevitable where this story was going to go. In season 2, episode 7 of The Office, while Michael Scott is wooing Tim Meadows at a Chili's, the rest of The Office is participating in a read-through of his original script, Threat Level Midnight, and we're all having a great time. Dwight happily partakes even though the protagonist has a notable foolish sidekick, because why wouldn't he? He has no reason to think that Michael based this character on him, no matter how ridiculous or incompetent he reads coming off the page, until the presence of a singular Dwigged brings everything to a screeching halt. Whenever you base your fictional buffoonish sidekick on your real-life buffoonish sidekick, it is best practice to give them an alias or alternative name so your true intentions are never found out. Unfortunately, searching and replacing the real name with a fictional one doesn't work for words that are misspelled. And thus, with this typo, Dwight is given the clarity he needs to understand what was going on here. That he was the fool. He was the fool. It's all fun and games until a word missing a singular letter allows the true gravity of the situation to reveal itself. With the Jurassic door, it is clear that poor design is in the very fabric of the park, conceptually and aesthetically. That giant emblem, that gaudy icon. Put that before the first seam and then slide over the entire word so the C can fit before the second seam. Now that's a theme park built with thoughtfulness and care. But the thing that the movie's gonna tell us in the second half is that this is not a theme park built with thoughtfulness and care. This door has to be designed and executed imperfectly because Jurassic Park as an idea and as a pursuit is undeniably imperfect. Imperfect derogatory, not like imperfect like, oh, accept me, flaws and all. Like, no, this little boy almost died 7 times. Any other theme park in similar circumstances would have been shut down immediately. I had fun on Universal Orlando's Flight of the Hippogriff, although I did find it odd that they made us ride actual hippogriffs considering I'm not trained or understand the behavior of these animals at all. I got some sweet merch though. And to all the cynics who say it's just a happy accident, they didn't mean to create the perfect analogy for this film with the seam of a door, to that I say, there is a whole slew of people working on these movies. You think all the people in the credits are just bots? No, those are all dedicated people, and their work manifests in such beautiful moments as Jurassic Door. That's like saying, oh yeah, Rian Johnson didn't mean to give Ana de Armas the mug at the end of Knives Out that said "My house, my rules." He meant to give her a mug that said "Coffee" in the Ray Dunn font. Hagrid didn't mean to tell Harry he's a wizard. He meant to tell him, Harry, you're a tax evader, but things got out of control after that. The shark in Jaws didn't mean to kill Quint. He was actually looking for somebody else. We can say that these things don't mean the things that they clearly mean, or we can believe that they mean the things that they clearly mean. When people are skilled and do a good job, things usually mean what they intend to make them mean. Someone here is behind it. Someone fess up. Who did the door? It's gotta be someone in the art department, right? I mean, it's certainly not goat and body parts Lance Anderson, the man with the most specific job in the universe.